tuning into today's second video. Already done the first video looking at what may happen later on with thunderstorms. If you want to see that video, go to the Stormwatch page. You just got to go up to the top menu on this page, my homepage at gasworthbiz.com. Click on Video Forecast. There'll be a drop down menu. Find Stormwatch. And you can click through to the Stormwatch page. You'll be able to see the video that I did this morning. Just speculating on what could happen with the storms. This is the current radar picture, actually, from the UK Met Office. We can see that the storms are clearing off to the east now. Things are calming down quite a lot. We've still got some heavy storms up across central, southern parts of Scotland. But in the east of England, the storms are beginning to ease down somewhat. And that was to be expected. I did think that as we went through the morning into the middle of the day, the storms will probably start to ease quite a bit. That is indeed what's taking place. What happens this afternoon is very complicated. We've got a bit of a split with the models. The NAE model doesn't really develop things too much through the afternoon. A lot of the energy gone in the atmosphere from these earlier storms. Whereas the GFS really wants to blow things up again later this afternoon. So it's going to be a case of nowcasting. As I say, check out the video on the Stormwatch page. You'll be able to see all the detail of what could happen this afternoon. If things do blow up again this afternoon, I will update later on. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 8 to 10 days for this video. It looks like we're going to be keeping it pretty warm, really. These are the 500 millibar height anomalies. We've got the ECMWF on the left, the GFS is on the right, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. It is an important area in the atmosphere because that's where we've got high pressure and low pressure developing. It's really those areas of high pressure, low pressure moved around by the jet stream running above that we get weather. That is essentially what weather is, the movement of air by the jet stream. So we've got a bit of a trough here on the ECMWF sitting out to the west of the country in 8 to 10 days time. 8 to 10 days time is taking us more or less to the 1st of August, by the way, so this is sort of taking us into the final month of the summer, would you believe? It's hard to believe we're into the final month of the summer, but there we go. August, of course, last month of meteorological summer anyway. September can produce summery weather, as we know. But for the statistics anyway, summer is June, July and August. So we've got the trough of low pressures on both the ECMWF and the GFS sitting out to the west of the country. Somewhat weaker on the ECMWF, but quite a deep trough actually on the GFS. That will at the very least be keeping it unsettled with west to southwesterly winds spreading weather fronts across the country. But the main thing really is this big area of above average heights sitting as virtually a wall of high pressure to the east of the country. We've got it both on the ECMWF and we've got it here on the GFS as well. That wall of high pressure with the trough coming up against that wall of high pressure is going to keep winds generally from a southerly to southwesterly direction. So it's never going to be cold. It's always going to be quite warm. These southerly winds could bring in some hotter conditions at times, to be honest, but the main thing is that despite the fact we've got a trough of low pressure to the west, temperatures will probably be holding up really quite well. So the temperature anomalies for the next week from the GFS model showing that for the 23rd to the 30th of July we're going to be above average with the temperatures were in those pink colours, but conversely it's also going to be a bit wetter than average for the next week. Many parts of the country, particularly in the east, are usually in those blue and green colours, indicating that we have got precipitation coming up above what you would expect at the time of year. Look how wet it is on the Manchester Ensemble. We've got big precipitation spikes there, big rainfall spikes starting right from the start of the ensemble and going right way through. It goes actually this ensemble to the 7th of August, but the main part of it is this first bit, which is the reliable time frame. Temperatures do dip down. We're very warm with temperatures at the moment in the upper atmosphere. Red line where we should be at this time of year, of course. We are going to dip down, but we're going to stay generally a bit above average, even with those temperatures sliding for the foreseeable future. Maybe going more towards the average and a little bit below in the second week of the period, which is taking us anything from around the 1st to say the 8th of August. The generic charts show this all quite nicely. We've got the low pressure here to the west of the country on Friday the 26th. The high pressure as a block is reaching to the east of the country. What happens as we go through the next few days, Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th, we basically keep that high pressure to the east, low pressure to the west idea. Weather fronts are always being thrown up by that low pressure, so it's never going to be settled. There will be showers at times, maybe some longer spells of rain too, but winds generally are, the air I should say, not much wind there. Ice bars are very slack, but the air generally is from a southerly direction. direction, so it's never going to be cold. There is the prospect of some warm conditions coming through at times. Temperatures generally staying up around the 25-26 degree mark, but maybe the chance of a little mini plume occasionally, so don't be surprised if it gets a bit hotter than that, especially in the south. As we move through to the end of the period, which is taking us through to around 192-240 hours, then the signs are that the low pressure starts to push in off the Atlantic, bringing cooler and fresher air in by the 2nd of August. I'm not sure about that, to be honest, but certainly we could start to introduce some cooler, fresher air as we get through to the 2nd of August, but it looks like it's going to stay pretty unsettled anyway. As we move through to the east and to the west, again, it's the same idea, but low pressure is out to west, the high pressure is to the east of the country, so winds are always coming from a southerly direction. Low pressure will be bringing weather systems in across the country at times through this period, and eventually as we get through to the 29th and then the 30th, it turns a bit fresher, but always the chance of bringing southerly winds back in again. 31st of July there, we're bringing the southerly flow black, turning quite hot in the south. We've had a very brief mini plume before again the low pressure pushes through and it turns cooler and fresher. And again the GEM, it's the same idea that we have winds constantly coming from west to southwesterly direction, so it's never going to be cold. Actually, the GM is a little bit more unsettled, I think, with the low pressure than the other two. It's a bit deeper and the high pressure is a bit further to the east. So consequently, it is more unsettled and it is a little bit cooler. But it's the same sort of idea throughout the models, which is that for the next week to 10 days, we're keeping it pretty warm. It's not going to be cold. And it's going to be quite unsettled as well, with showers coming through at times. Maybe some longer spells of rain as well. Always the chance, with it being quite warm and humid, that there could be some thunder, more thunder generated. So a pretty warm and unsettled spell coming up for the next week. I'll be doing a 5-day forecast tomorrow, so come back for that. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.